Hey guys, welcome back. It's your favorite camper of the month, and I'm back with some more Black Seas by Warlord Games. We're going to jump into the first part of turn one. Now, normally we would do a weather thing. We're not going to do the weather thing, the checking for wind direction, because this is first turn. Basically, the wind's already been decided. Remember, I'm sticking with it north, but I did change the orientation of that ship because otherwise it would have been tacking like right off the bat, and he would have just been in bad position. So I angled him this way, so essentially the wind's coming in at his side. When you're looking at your ships, the wind can either come in from the front, from the back, or from either one of the sides. Like I said, I'm going with the easier wind direction thingy because normally, like the higher end version, you wanted the wind to come in kind of offset at the back, then you could get full sails. This, we're going with just the basic version, which is the back you can get full sails, like if it's coming directly behind you. And if you're ever unsure, you just take your little measurement tool and put it back here. So basically that angle is for the back, same for the front. And that's also like your shooting angle as well. So easy to determine. Wind coming in from any other direction is side. If you're side, you can only get up to battle sails, right? The middle one, which is 2 moves, full sails, 3 moves, and then light sails 1. So for our British ship here, he is coming in at battle sails. Like he's ready to go. He's ready to get stuck in. He caught them with their pants down. So I'm going to have him coming in down here at the angle, and we'll put this on him after we have established our path. Sorry, I got distracted there for a sec. So anyway, we're coming in from the corner, and since the wind's going north, right, pointing that way, we've got side wind, battle sails, so we're going to be able to make 2 full moves. Now, for us, we can shoot at any point of the move. Now, I am going with the fire as she goes special rule, additional rule in the game to kind of give you a little more leeway on when you take a shot, because the base rules, you can only shoot at the intersection of each move or whenever you're done with each move, right? So if he went on one move, and we're going to be going 4 inches because he has 4 knots, right? So he would move 4 knots ahead, and then he could take a shot there, and then he could turn or continue moving ahead, and then take another shot with a different set of guns. He couldn't continue to shoot from the same set of cannons, but you could shoot from each of your firing positions once at points during these moves if you want to. Or if you use the fire as she goes rules, you can fire at some point along your move if that would be more advantageous. To me, that seems more thematic, so we're going to go with that, see how it plays out. And I could honestly see people playing that rule either way, because there's tactical advantages and disadvantages to it both ways. And some ways, fire as she goes is almost easier because you just have to get your ship, passing the enemy to get your shot in at the right point, rather than ending your move at the perfect point to have them in line of sight. It'll make the game go a little quicker, though, I think, with fire as she goes as well. So we're going to go with that. But anyway, we're going to do our first move. We're going to go 4 inches ahead. And like I said, that little brown part, that line you see, I don't know what we call right there across the bow, that's what I'm going to use as like my marker. So we're going to go 4 inches straight ahead from that point. And since I'm doing this one-handed, I'm not going to be perfect, but sure, we're having fun with it anyway. So we're going to come up to that point, line it up there, bam. That is the end point of our first move. So I've got 1 move left. I could fire from here. I could turn, and let's see. I do have a shot, but that's way out there. What is that? He's in range because I've got a cannon on the front, a heavy cannon right there on the bow. And its range is up to 20 inches. But I don't want to fire at more than 10 if I can help it, because there is a penalty for firing more than 10 inches away, -2, and I wouldn't have anything else helping me out. So let's see. I doubt I'm going to be able to get him within that. So we'll do one more. Actually, I want to turn him probably. I think, yeah, I do want to turn him because I'm kind of thinking I'm going to go this way, up and around, and come around over. And if I go one more forward and turn, it'll be harder because I don't think I'm allowed to turn at the start of my move. So in essence, I would have to go 4 inches ahead. Yeah, so yeah, he would be there and then another 4 inches. So he would be turning very close to this island if I do it that way. Oh, that's a thought. Do I want to turn close to the island? No, I think I kind of want to stay out and about. Use my guns, use my range. So let's do this then. We are going to pivot him. Ooh, damn, do I want to? Yeah, because I'm going to be way, way out, farther out than I thought. I'm going to turn him after my second move. That's what I'm going to do. We will fire and turn after our second move. So bear with me. I'm learning this game as we go too, guys. So I understand the rules. It's just the tactics, the seafaring tactics to use against these salty French dogs that we want to kill because they're French, and that's what you do with the French. All right, so we got our ship there, and we are going to tuck that in here in just a sec. And I know I'm going to do a turn, but I'm going to fire before I do the turn because I've got him in the frontal arc, this guy, and I'm not going to have him in any arc after I turn at any point because I would be facing this way. He'd be out of my frontal arc, and I wouldn't have him in for a broadside either. So we're going to fire and then finish our turn. Actually, I'll go ahead and do the turn because we know we're in the right spot for it. Since he does have a red turning marker, which is kind of surprising. I didn't expect a third rate to have a red turning marker, but I guess they do get to move fairly quickly. And then you just turn it like such until it's lined up with the side, and bam, he's pointing going this way. So we only get to fire with one of our little dice since he only has one gun pointing in the correct direction. All right, don't move. This is a little bit harder when you're trying to do it one-handed, so hold on one second. Okay, so I had to put the camera down for just a sec to show you guys, but you see, that's how you keep track. Real ingenious system in it. I like how it has the wake, too. Kind of symbolizes the wake. You can tell just at a glance how fast everyone's going by, you know, where their wake is. He used battle sails, 2 moves, we're good. All right, so we came forward, did that, or we went forward twice and then turned, rather. But we will roll our single D10 and for our modifiers. Right over here, everyone is going to be regular crew. All right, so my ship, their ships, all ships, regular crew, just making it easy. And for our base hit, we need a 5 or less. Only 1 gun position firing, so we're not going to have a modifier from that. And the target is definitely over 10 inches away, I believe. But let's check just to be sure. He would have been firing from there. Yeah. And it's just a bit short. For the 10 inches, he's about 12 inches away. So that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. So we're getting a -2. If it's within point blank, so target's within 3 inches, you get a +2. And you get some bonuses to damage, I think. Crew, it's not going to matter. Veterans get +2, inexperienced get -2. And this is where it gets into, like, it simulates X-Wing a little bit because you can choose to have veteran or inexperienced, regular crew. That determines the point cost of each of the ships. And you can have special skills for your ships, like better gunners or over guns, so it has more guns on it than it would normally have for its frame. Stuff like that. Basically, advancements that you could pay a few points, make your ship just a little bit better, kind of like X-Wing. I like how they included that. All right, so we are shooting at a vessel that is anchored because these guys are starting off anchored. All of them back over here are anchored. So I am getting a +1, and they're going to be switching to light sails at the start of their movement. So we've got a -2 and a +1, and they're not tiny. They are small, so that's a -1. Ooh, that's going to suck. Oh, that's going to suck. And then I'm large, so they're all going to be getting bonuses against me. And yeah, because that frigate's a medium. They're going to get -1s. he's not going to get any modifier, and they're going to get +1s when firing at the British ship since it is a little bit bigger. Ooh, that sucks. So right now we're still at a -2 total. No visibility. We're not going to aim high because then I would only get the negative or a -2 on it, and I would only hit on a 1. Aiming high, like I said, is aiming for the mast, the rigging. You're trying to knock down their sails. You do get to get some possible critical hits, though, against their ship. And then fire as she bears, which is the rule I told you I am using. You do get a negative modifier if you fire them. So I'm not firing as she bears since I didn't fire along the movement. I'm firing at a turn or at the point I normally would. So that modifier is not going to come into play. And then we see heavy cannons, the only thing I'm firing. What I don't get is they say the dice color blue for heavy cannon, but they included white dice. There was white, red, and black, but they call for blue, red, and black in the thing. So we're just going to use white for heavy cannons if we ever have that issue. And if we hit, we're going to do 2 damage. Now, for us, total modifiers brings us down to a 3. When we add up all the backs and forths over here and subtract it from our 5. So we need a 3 or under on a D10 to make this hit. Let's roll and see what we get. We got a 5. Damn. If it wasn't for the modifier, we would have hit. And critical hits do come into play when you get a 1, I believe it is, on it. I'll have to check that again just to make sure, but I do believe it is a 1 will get you a critical hit. All right, so this actually does bother me. I'm going to have to scan these pages and print it out because they're not put onto a player aid and they're not listed on that quick reference sheet either. But this is the critical hit table. If you do score a natural 1, then they have to roll here to determine what type of damage is done. If you're just aiming at the ship, it's going to be here, hull. And if you are aiming high, then it's over here on the sails. But you can get stuff like quarterdeck hit, gun deck, rudder, steering, crew hit, extra damage to structure. So you can just add more damage and then fire on board. Good stuff, good stuff. And same type stuff over here for the sails. So I'll make some copies of those for later on. And that's going to take care of our guys. So if we can do this just to signify. Now, you could do it either way. You could either place a little token next to them or just do like I do, either on the card or off the card to signify the fact that they've gone. It's not going to be that hard to remember which ones have gone, though. Now, remember, we're going to go up as such, and it's the first one that we hit. For us, that's going to be this guy here, and then this guy really is not going to matter too much for him. Now, they're both starting off as anchored because they were anchored here at the island, and they're going to have to raise their sails. They can do that at the start of their activations. You can increase your sails or lower your sails just depending on what you want to do. They're obviously going to increase it to light, which means he's got 1 move. He's going to have 1 move. And what do we want to do with that 1 move? Well, these guys only have 2 cannons on each side, so they don't have much. They got to get their side pointing. But he'd be tacking if he did it later on, but he could do a move forward and then turn and come back and come around this way, try to get behind him. This guy could circle around or circle around the island. The frigate back over there, I'm thinking of bringing him down around. I did this to make it a little bit harder on them. One's pointing this way, one's pointing that way, the other pointing that way. So they couldn't automatically just turn and focus in on the third rate. Because if they did that, they would take him out relatively quick. Now, I did forget to mention the health points are almost exactly even for all the ships. There's 20 and 20 and 36 on him, and then 74 here. So they have a total of 76 hull points, and they have a total of 74 hull points. So it is almost exactly spot on. It's just where all of it's located. If they can get all of their guns firing at the same time, they have overwhelming advantage. They can get more guns to bear because they could do... Yeah, if they got, let's say they each got a broadside at the same time, they would have 6 heavy cannons, 1 light cannon, 1 carronade. That definitely outnumbers the third rate. Not by too much, but those heavy cannons do a lot of damage. So let's just take him forward. They have a sailing speed of 5. So we're going to bring him forward 5 and then move him around in a turn. Ooh, he moves pretty quick too. Let's see. Yeah, where do I want to measure this from to make it easiest? Well, if I measure it from the back, that might be easier. Yeah, let's just measure it from the back. That way I can have just a line right there across and bring that up to 5. Bam. Just like that. And we will grab our little turny, whirly. They definitely have a high turning radius. Try not to bump everything as I'm doing this because the table is rather large. And I don't think he's going to be able to get a line of sight on him. And I will put this just there for ease of play for light sails for him. And yeah, if we trace the line drawing out this way, he's not going to have a line of sight. You see the ship's way down here, so he's out of it. You do not trace out at angles from the side. They have to be at the side. And you see that's where a disadvantage these small ships are going to have, because they only have this much of a firing angle pointing out, right? That's why I definitely included that fire as she bears rule, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to make any shots with those guys without getting them perfectly lined up. We're going to do the same thing with this guy. We're going to bring him up to light sails, and we're going to bring him forward 5 inches and turn him around. See if we can get him stuck in there. So he's going to go up as such, and then we'll put our little turny thing. And like I said, don't hold my kind of sloppy movements against me, because I am doing this one-handed, which normally you wouldn't be doing. And we'll put this right there at the back just to signify that only that much is hanging out. Oh, something I did want to mention though is, unlike games like X-Wing, if a ship sails off the map, they're not out of the match. They just are out for that round, and then the next round they come back onto the board. So you do have the ability to kind of sail off and then come back if need be. You could probably game that a little bit to try to get out of the line of fire if you wanted to. All right, so we got to do our big guy up here. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to bring him up to light sails, and then we're going to move him. I'm going to have to measure that from the front. We're going to have him turn. So bring that up to right there, 5 inches. And then we're going to turn him. Ooh, now he doesn't have to turn all the way into the wind, so I might leave him angled just a little bit to still kind of count that as side, because you don't have to turn all the way into the wind. Yeah, let's, ooh, don't bump him around too much. Let's do it like this, because the wind's coming in this way. I'm trying to leave it so it's just a little bit, just hitting his side instead of putting it in there at the front to attack. That way he can go on his next one and hopefully turn enough to make it around this island over here. That way he can turn through the wind. That's my hope, because the wind is like the 30, so he has to estimate it just right to make it this big of a turn to get out of that wind. And we'll put this next to him to signify the fact that he's at light sails at the moment. They'll be speeding up on the next turn up to battle sails though. All right, I'm thinking on the next turn, I might have, if I had the third rate, bump it up to full sails, he could make 3 moves. And at 12 inches, he might be able to get line of sight on that guy, get a broadside against him. And if he did, and especially if I got him within 3 inches, doing that, I don't know how I can get him within 3 inches, but if I did get him within 3 inches, that doubles that damage that he would do. So he would be effectively firing with, let's see, what, 3, 2, and 2. And those carronades can do a lot of damage if they hit. Those are 3 damage apiece. The heavy cannons are 3. So let's just say he hit with all his heavy cannons. That would, if you double that, that's 12 damage. 12 damage on one of these brigs is almost enough to knock it down to striking their colors in one hit. So it kind of goes along with what you would expect in real life. Big ship pulling alongside close to a little ship like that, hitting them with a full broadside, just tear them apart. All right, but we're going to pause it here since I'm almost out of time. It's a touch shorter than I would like, but it would go long on the video if I went and did another turn. So we'll pick up with the next one. Like usual, I'm going to try to speed it up a little bit, but I do have a tendency to explain everything, which slows me down. You guys know how it is. But I do like showing you guys as many aspects of the game as I can, because this one I love it, man. I love sitting back, looking at this. I was looking through some of the scenarios that are available, like big stuff like the Battle of Trafalgar and the others with the Age of Sail. And that's why I've always loved games like Flying Colors from GMT. You know, I love the thought of the Age of Sail, the cannons blowing holes in their ship, and seeing Captain Jack Sparrow jumping around doing his little wacky crazy stuff. Yeah, I love that crap. I've just always loved the Age of Sail, and these ships look so good on the board. Especially when you get into the bigger ones, like the first-rate ships of the line, 100+ gun ships that can just blow something out of the water. Like those little brigs wouldn't even stand a chance. And they do have smaller ships as well. They have little schooners, which are effectively like 3 ships, and they're all put on one base because they're so small they don't really fit the scale. So there's 3 of them that are on a little base that you move around, but they're very maneuverable. I love how they have that included. So many different ways that you could do this. I think there's another game like this set in World War II era, Atlantic something, or Naval Battle something. If you guys can remember the game that I'm thinking of, let me know, because I love that era too. And if I could have a game where it's Age of Sail with little models doing around skirmish battles like this, and then one with World War II ships doing the same thing, that's just going to blow my mind. I won't even need a wife and kids anymore. All right, but like I said, we're going to pause here. If you guys have any suggestions for tactics for the friendships, feel free to put it down below. We'll see if it works out for them. But the general plan as of now is, like I said, to turn this guy around, and bring them around and try to kind of pin him in. And the British ship is going to try to just circle the island to try to keep all of their guns from being able to hit him at the same time. Hopefully maybe take this brig out and then be able to just focus those 2 down. All right, but that's it for me. You guys take care. I will see you in the next one.